The sun was sinking low over the dusty plains of Dakota territory, turning the town of Silver Rock into a haze of gold and dust. The train whistle echoed through the valley, that sound of arrival of change. And on that day it carried something new, a mail-order bride. Elias Ward stood outside the livery stable, arms crossed, hat low over his brow. He was a quiet man, all hard edges softened by solitude and sun. His ranch lay 15 miles out toward the Red Mesas, a place built by his own hands after loss had taken nearly everything from him. He hadn't sent for a bride to chase beauty or excitement. He'd written to the Frontier Bride Agency for something simpler, a partner, someone honest enough to build a life with, even in the middle of nowhere. When the stagecoach rolled in, two women stepped down. The first, a blonde with lace gloves and bright eyes, drew every gaze on the street. The second was small, plain, her dress faded, her satchel worn at the corners. She moved like someone expecting to be forgotten. The station master called out, "Mr. Elias Ward?" and pointed toward the second woman. She stepped forward nervously. I'm not the pretty one you ordered, Mr. Ward." Laughter murmured through the bystanders, but Elias's gaze didn't waver. He stepped closer, voice quiet and sure. "I didn't order anyone, ma'am. I asked for the one meant for me." Her name was Clara James, the woman sent in another's place. The one no one had expected. The one who'd already learned what it meant to be unwanted. But Elias saw something in her, not disappointment, not mistake, but truth. The kind that stands when the world falls apart. "You're exactly what I needed," he said. She stared at him, searching his face for cruelty, but found only calm kindness. When he offered his hand, she took it. The ride to the ranch was long and quiet, the road stretching endless beneath a red-gold sky. Wind whispered through the sage, and for the first time in years, Clara felt something that almost hurt to name: peace. Elias spoke little, but when he did, his words carried weight. "Expectation doesn't build a life," he said. "Work does. Kindness does. Truth does. You look like you've held on to all three." That night she sat by his hearth, warmth on her face and disbelief in her heart. "You don't even know me," she said. He met her eyes, steady and sure. "I know enough. You showed up. That says more than most ever will." Outside, coyotes sang to the rising moon. Inside, two strangers began to feel less alone. The next morning, the wind came hard off the plains. Clouds rolled dark across the horizon. Elias was already in the yard feeding the stock when Clara joined him, wrapping her shawl tight. "You should have stayed inside," he called. "And let you do all the work?" "That wouldn't be right," she answered, a small spark in her tone. He handed her a bucket, smiling. "All right, Mrs. Ward." She froze. The name startled her, but in her chest it felt like something blooming. They worked side by side, until thunder cracked above them and rain came down in fierce sheets. By the time they reached the porch, they were soaked through, laughing breathlessly. Elias brushed the wet hair from her forehead. "Can't have my bride catching cold her first week here." They dried by the fire, silence filling the room like an old song, but the quiet drew out her past, memories she'd buried deep. He must have felt it, because after a while he asked gently, "What brought you out here, Clara?" "Really?" Her hands trembled around the mug. "I wasn't supposed to come," she said. "The woman you were matched with changed her mind. I was helping at the agency, packing letters, and when they said you'd already paid and were waiting, I just took her place. I couldn't bear the thought of someone left standing alone." Elias didn't speak, just listened, steady, patient. "My father drank away what we had. I worked in factories, slept where I could. I wasn't supposed to be on that stagecoach, but I wanted to be wanted. Just once." He leaned forward, his voice low. "You were wanted, Clara, maybe not by them, but by me." She looked at him through tears, shaking her head. "You don't know what I've done to survive." He reached out, rough hand covering hers. "Maybe not, but I know you're here, and that's enough." The storm raged, then passed. When the clouds broke, a rainbow stretched faintly over the plains. Clara stood on the porch watching it. Elias joined her, his voice barely above the wind. "The land cleans itself after every storm. So do people if they let themselves." She turned toward him, eyes glimmering. "You really believe that?" "I've had to," he said. "After my brother died, I thought I was done, thought the good was gone. But then I figured maybe the good's just waiting for someone brave enough to show up again." "You think I'm brave?" she whispered. "I know you are." The sun came through the clouds, gold light spilling across her face. In that glow, Elias saw beauty that no agency or letter could have described. Not painted lips or perfect curls, but something rare, a heart that had survived. You could have turned me away, she said softly. I could have, he admitted, smiling. But then I'd have missed the best thing that ever came off that train. That night the storm was gone. The plane stretched wide under a sky full of stars. Clara stood at the window, the firelight behind her, the scent of rain still in the air, and she felt something she hadn't felt in years, safety. Behind her, Elias's voice came quiet and sure. Maybe you weren't the pretty one they ordered, Clara James, but you're all I ever needed. And for the first time, she believed him. If this story touched your heart, if you felt the quiet courage in Clara's voice or the steady kindness in Elias's smile, then don't let it end here. Subscribe to our channel for more powerful Western love stories, tales of resilience, redemption, and love that rises from the dust. Every story brings a new heart to heal, a new hope to hold on to, and a reminder that true beauty lives in the soul, not the mirror. Hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell, partner, because the next story might just be the one your heart's been waiting for.